Now that we are inside the Unreal Engine, we could begin the process of importing the reconstructed site of the Israeli gate. To keep our data more organized, our content browser, within the content folder, we're going to create a new folder where we're going to store the imported data. Let's name this Israeli gate. In our file explorer, I already have here the OBJ that we're going to import, and as you can see, the 32 texture files. Before we do that, I actually want to show the other things I have here in this current level. I have the KISS model here, which is another archaeology site that was also reconstructed in reality capture. There's another part of the museum I reconstructed, which is actually a library. You can see here the books and the bookshelves, the couch and the desk, the podium, and there's actually a window to the outside. This is another site of Tel Dan, and all three of these were reconstructed with reality capture. Going back to our content browser, let's go inside the Israelite Gate folder. Going back to our file explorer where the OBJ is located, we're going to simply drag this into Unreal Engine. And we're going to wait for this to import. Some of the settings I have adjusted for the import options. I have removed degenerates as false. Build reverse index buffer is also false. The normal import method as compute normals. And the import uniform scale, I actually have it down to 50. And if you actually know the actual scale, you could scale it to the appropriate scale. For the materials, I have material import method as create new instant materials, as it will be easier if we want to adjust any of the lightings or the color of the textures. And the base material, I actually got this from my professor as site material, and I'll show you how this material file looks like. And for base color, set it to parameters and the rest to textures instead of do not override. And click import all. For the message log, you can just ignore it, close the window. You can see now our OBJ is now created as a static mesh, and our texture files are also imported as well, as seen here in these red files. And these texture files were created into material files, or in this case, material instances, because in our options, we imported it for the site material. I actually have the site material in a different folder, but I'll show that really quick here. If I click site material, a new window will open up in Unreal Engine. And you can see here that this node is connected to emissive color and base color, and a parameter is created for the normals. And on the left here, our shading model is set to unlit. And if we were to change this to default lit or any of the other options, then the material instances files we have for the Israeli gates will also be changed to lit. And that could just help us if, depending on the lighting of the level, if we wanted to change that or not. So if we go back to the Israeli gate folder and we double click on this one, you can see that the parent is the site material one. We can actually drag this here so it's easier to switch between. This is our parent one. And you can really see that it does have emissive color. And we can actually click this and put it into unlit. And the colors are still looking pretty good. And we'll close this. Now, the first time we're actually going to drag this into the world to actually take a while and also to prepare the shaders for it. Now let's drop the Israeli gate into our level. I'm actually going to create a space for this. I'll just put it here next to this one. Now the Israeli gate is in our level. We can also just double click this file. We could see in the material slots, all the texture files have been converted into material instances, and they'll all be here on the right-hand side. And for the most part, our scene looks great. We can even change this into unlit, and it'll look even better. This was my process in reconstructing archaeological sites. In this case, it was the Israeli gate. I went from reconstructing it in reality capture, exporting it, and then importing it into Unreal Engine, making sure everything was good. Keeping in mind that this is a digital twin of a real-life archaeological site. It's always important to save, so you could click Save All to save the static meshes. Next, I'm going to show you how to import artifacts into Unreal Engine.